Good morning. Let's get my face squared away and trying every day to bring some holiness and Kedusha into the world and to make it available for each and every one of you that are listening to find some kind of connection that isn't being blocked. You were born connected. And whatever decisions we make as far as our behavior and soul goes, and I'm addressing myself, is I need to eliminate the negative. According to Rabbi Moshe Chaim Lutzato, we each and every one of us has a spiritual self-esteem, and it is diminished by making bad choices, and it is fortified by making the right choices. So on a moment-by-moment basis, I ask myself, Ruby, are you making a choice to bring yourself closer to God and behave in a godly way and authentically share what you know with other people? I wanted to read today from chapter 17 of Tehillim. If you have a copy of the book, From Your Lips to God's Ears, and it's, I would say, the best book out there on understanding when you say Tehillim, which if you read Psalms or pray in Judaism out of a Siddur or in church, in Christianity, it's best to have a deeper understanding that this book will provide to you. Chapter 17 appears on page 106. The author, you know, is David, King David, because it says, Tefillah LeDavid, a prayer of David. And Tefillah is one of 10 opening phrases that you have in the book of Psalms, or prayer. When and why did David write this? King David write this? He wrote this psalm as a prayer to God to save him from his enemies. You'd think he'd have protection, CIA, FBI, Secret Service. He was on the run a large part of his life. Next, the genre. It's a chapter, a poem, a song of individual lamenting that King David is acknowledging that this psalm, we can see, was written from the perspective of the individual worshiper who cries out to God. God answered him. And we have to practice that connection in his time of need. Anybody have a time of need? Read this chapter. It is characterized as an address to God involving the mighty three. Complaint, followed by a request, and ending with an expression of trust. God, I'm not happy about this. God, I don't like this. However, here's my request. Use your voice, each and every one of us. Speak up to God. Build your relationship and connection to God. Rambam says you can't do teshuvah unless you speak up and fess up and say, I did what I can do. It's not a minimal amount. It has to be heartfelt. However, I trust. I have bitachon. I have emunah. I trust that my soul is connected to the creator of my soul, and the creator wants to hear my prayers. The summary. David offers a plea to God appealing for deliverance. As his heart is pure, eliminate the negative decisions as far as your spiritual self-image, and leverage, maximize, increase power of choice, that you're not only the chosen people, but you're the choosing people. And it says, rise up, God, confront him, bring him to his knees. He declares of his enemy. These words are also understood as referring to a man's evil inclination, and the Malach HaMavet, the angel of death. Malach HaMavet, as my great-grandfather said, I'm not ready for you. The psalm contains 15 verses, subdivided into 3 parts. The verses 1 through 5, King David asks that his prayers be accepted, as God has already purified him with suffering which cleanses the person's soul. Number 6 through 12, he once again requests that his prayers be accepted and describes the wickedness of his enemies, thereby elucidating the suffering referenced above. And then finally, the last 4 psukim, 13, 14, 15, 3 psukim, he asks God to rescue him from his enemies and that he receive his fair share in the world as well as in the world to come. We see the introductory word is a word tefillah, it's prayer. Now, some people say it's from in outward, but prayer also is self-introspection. You must take moments of your day, of your life, to look inside and say, eliminate the negative, accentuate the positive. Shimush Tehillim, the usages of Tehillim, you would say this for traveling on a journey. Why? Because it says, Lifeulot Adam, that the deeds of man, bidavar sifasecha, may follow the words of your lips. Ani shamarti, I have preserved my soul, orachos paritz, by avoiding the way of lawbreakers. Where in the Siddur it is found in the repetition of the standing prayer on Rosh Hashanah, on the Jewish New Year, and also verse 8 is part of the bedtime Shema, that you say this prayer before you go to sleep. It is paraphrased as a part of the blessings following the Shema. Hear, O Israel. The Talmud in the Tehillim is Ani betzedek echazeh ponecha esba'a behokitz timunasecha. As for me, in righteousness I will behold your presence. I will be satisfied when I awake with your likeness. The Talmud Bava Batra explains, when one begins a large gift to a king, it is questionable whether or not the king's palace's servants will accept the gift on behalf of the king. And if it is accepted, is it still questionable whether the visitor will be granted a personal audience with the king? However, when one gives a pruta, a small coin, to a pauper, he's immediately deserving and receives the divine presence. Whenever I see someone in the street, I make sure to give them something. They should not be holding up their hand without me putting something in it on behalf of God. The Talmud further infers that this verse refers to the Talmidei Chachamim, Torah scholars, who remain awake late at night studying Torah, thereby lacking sleep. God therefore satisfies them in the world to come with a divine presence. How nice. I would like to stop now, and tomorrow I will read the text in the translation and the interpretation of this prayer. Have a great day.